Direct from the Six, world-renowned, Canada's largest city, with Canada's biggest thinkers, visionaries, and hustlers. This is Startup Talk, featuring the founders, funders, innovators, and community leaders who've led Canada's startup ecosystem right here in Toronto. You'll hear the challenges, the failures, the successes. Toronto's Startup Podcast gives you the full story direct from the entrepreneurs and influencers who've made a difference. Now, the host of Startup Talk, the founder of TorontoStarts, the Startup Coach.
How would you recommend going from 0 to 1,000 daily active users for their web app? For their chess skill gaming web app. And I would expand and say, for anybody who's got a web app or an app, what strategies would you suggest to go from 0 to 100 or 1,000 daily active users? And Trevor, if you're there on your cell phone, let's start with you.
Thank you for giving me the hardest question of the bunch. It really depends on the nature of your audience. I mean, if your target audience likes that kind of stuff, then you just need to find out where they're at and put yourself out in front of them. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, we all know that if nobody knows you exist, they're not going to buy your stuff. So for me, it's figuring out where the audience is that you want to actually to take advantage of your service offering and put yourself in front of them every day, all the time, and provide some value. And that, in theory, should get you to where you need to go. How fast that happens is going to be depend on the type of product that you have. That's literally the playbook for doing something like that.
Can I step in here, Craig?
Of course.
So I like that. And I was just going to say, just because I was just thinking about Facebook community groups, one of the things that I find really effective, especially if you have something that's like fun, that's community-based, like a web-based chess game, you can tap into the groups that already exist that really love doing board games, Catan. I don't know anyone plays those games, any kind of strategy games. Go out there and then, I think that do a competition, give something to the people. So typically for our dry businesses, we would do a lead magnet. For them, they can do a competition, right? Some kind of fun competition. You can make it, draw a lot of traction using that. Even for one of the company startups that I worked with, which was during COVID, it was a private studio gym. We did because we couldn't bring anyone in the gym, we did a competition online, which was like, who's the fittest trainer because their whole customer base was trainers. So we did who's the fittest trainer in Canada. And then we got people to submit how many push-ups they could do, how many run, how far they could run. So I think something interactive like that and banding people around that, tapping into existing communities on Facebook is a great way to, basically use other people's audience and, get their app out there. So I just something that popped in my head. I just wanted to jump in. So thanks, Craig.
That's 100%. I totally agree with that. That is probably the best way. And, trying to figure out where they hang out. It may not be in those community groups, but just wherever they hang out so you can get in front of them.
Love the idea of a competition. I think a lot of purchases, a lot of, things are driven by emotions and ego. And when it comes to chess, I'm sure chess players are very, cerebral, but they're also very competitive. So I think that's a great idea. Love that. I also like the idea of maybe having a competition where you bring people together physically. So either bring them from the web app into the physical world, whether it's in a central community or with different communities, and, trying to leverage the power of your own community to generate, evangelism, referrals, and that kind of thing.
And chess tournaments at schools, I think, are still a thing, aren't they?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Daniel?
Yeah, I was going to add that even though you're building an app or, any online product, we often forget about in-person experiences and IRL marketing. And if you look back to, the top apps that have grown, some of the biggest ones ever, like Tinder, Uber, DoorDash, all of these started with in-person experiences. The founders were running around pitching. DoorDash had flyers and they manually charged $6 for delivery and put them all over their university and visited restaurants. And the reason for that is, that's not scalable, but the reason for that is you need your first 10 users to get your first 100 users to then get your first 1,000. You can't just say, I'm going to go from 0 to 1,000. So that's kind of where it is. And to everyone else's point, those first few users will then spread it, right? And you can incentivize that. But that's definitely what I would do, to get to your first 1,000.
Yeah, and they mention here that assume influencers in chess clubs, the communities aren't an option due to risk aversion of gaming sector. So I don't really want to touch that, but I like pretty much what all of you said. And I sit back and say, all right, if I just need daily active users and I got this free web app that's teaching people how to play chess and up their skill game, then I need to get in front of people who are learning to play chess. Why would I not offer after school class to learn how to people to play chess, weekend classes, free on Eventbrite, free locally, free, and you write them in and you show them how to do it. And then here's your free access to my app. We want you to get so far, even offering a contest saying, the person that wins the most games, or we'll have a competition at the end of whatever and give prizes. It's not 100% sustainable because unless, you're really building people up if you're not making money, but you can do it online. You just got to get in front of those people who don't know how to play and want to skill up. And local libraries will do that. There's a lot of local communities will say, oh, you're teaching people how to play chess. Sure, come on in. That's a natural thing to do. So leverage those communities as much as possible. And I think you can find users. Final words over to you, Mark. And where can people find you, contact you, reach out for you to find out more?
LinkedIn for sure. Write a lot of content on LinkedIn. I guess that's going to drive my SEO if Niema's words are on the ball. Just look for Mark Evans or Mark Evans Fractional CMO. And my website is marketingspark.co.
And do you have any events coming up that you want to talk about?
I should be doing better marketing myself.
Okay.
I
just didn't want to forget anything.
No, that's it. That's it for now.
Niema?
That's funny, Mark. By you being present here, that's marketing enough.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Craig, for that. You're my event coordinator.
Fabulous. I also find that when I first popped in here, I saw that Mark had his name, but also his company name on the bottom. So I really like that. So I went back and did that. So he knows what he's doing there. For me, I would say my last words would be just thank you for having me here, Craig. Craig mentioned his events. I honestly love startup events, and I would say that you can find me at the next one that's happening this Thursday. So if you come there, I'll be there. And of course, you can search up my name, Social Sherpa, on YouTube. And if you feel so kind, or if you just want to learn more about social selling, you'll see a playlist there that teaches you every single step of social selling. So if that's something that you want to use for bootstrap marketing, it's there. So again, YouTube, Social Sherpa.
Yeah, stop playing on social and start selling. Trevor?
Oh, well, I'm glad that actually was able to finally get through to this. I got to figure out what's going on with my computer, but I'm really happy that we were able to do this. I have a sales strategy workshop coming up next week with you, Craig, actually. Absolutely. Thank you very much for doing that. And you can find me at marketinggeniushq.ca. That's pretty much about it for me. I mean, the one takeaway that I have for everybody who's listening, figure out who it is you want to talk to, because once you figure that out, then you can figure out the best messaging that's going to work for them.
Fantastic. And Danielle?
Important one for sure. I will add to that, if you're speaking to everyone, you're resonating with no one. So that's important. I have a series of workshops coming up that are more so for social purpose businesses and organizations. So I have a few coming up basically every Monday. So you can check that out. My page is called The Good Growth Company. We have a free series online, different topics. And like I said, content that actually speaks to your audience, but then has a purpose. Don't just put out content for the sake of it. Think of the intention behind all of your content as a startup, but try to invest in your own personal brand, because thought leadership, you can't ignore it. A lot of people don't like to put themselves out there, but if you're a founder, invest in your own content, not just your startups content. So that's where I'll leave you all tonight. Thank you for having us, Craig.
That's great advice. When we did the investor session last week, we had Graham Barlow on, and he suggested that when you start building your personal brand first, market everything as your personal brand, because if you sell or leave the company, you still have that personal brand rather than having to start from scratch again. So great advice, Daniel. All right, TorontoStarts.com for everything else that we do. StartupDrinksTO.com for startup investor drinks. All those links will be wherever you're watching this, in the show notes or in the podcast. And links to everyone here's LinkedIn, and whatever links they're going to send me tonight or tomorrow morning, I will include in all the show notes. What I'm going to do, thank you everyone for attending. I'm going to break this up into several sessions for the podcast. And a few different videos, as well as one big long video that'll go on our YouTube channel, and I'll send everyone the links for that. Thank you everyone for attending. Thanks everyone for watching. This has been great, and we'll talk to you all soon.
This has been Startup Talk, Toronto's startup podcast. For more exclusive content, the episode vault, and to be part of Toronto Starts community, visit TorontoStarts.com. Get your name on the newsletter mailing list and check out our upcoming events. For more episodes, subscribe now. And please recognize the time and work behind the scenes put into connecting you with the biggest visionaries, entrepreneurs, and innovators in Toronto by leaving a 5-star review. Join us for more next episode from Toronto's most active entrepreneur and startup community on Startup Talk.